worry about the Steelers. We need to worry about us. Like, that's the first thing. Worry about whatever we need to clean up on this side, clean it up. Like, forget every other team. We need to be beating ourselves out there. Little opportunities, we're not making them happen. We need to make those critical situations happen, and we're not doing it.
All right. And that is also absolutely right, Bobby. Like, we've been saying this. Bill Belichick has been saying this forever. The only team that can stop the Ravens is the Ravens. That's the only team. So forget the Steelers, forget all other teams. Let's focus on ourselves and let's get our bleep cleaned up. He is 1,000% right there.
Listen to the next 5 weeks for Pittsburgh. 9-3, game and a half up on Baltimore, as you mentioned, which is what Lamar was asked about there in that clip. Week 14, they'll have a home game against Cleveland. Week 15, they're on the road in Philadelphia. Week 16, at Baltimore, round 2 of the rivalry. Week 17, home, Kansas City. Regular season finale, home, Cincinnati, who likely at that point will be just trying to play spoiler.
Yeah.
Okay, so
nice.
As we've covered, 6 of the last 8 for Pittsburgh is in division, and the 2 outside of their division, oh, by the way, just Philadelphia and Kansas City. This playoff race, this AFC North current status is long from over. It's a 2-team race, but it's long from over. And the Ravens can absolutely still win this division. But Pittsburgh's in the driver's seat right now, and I think Lamar has the right mentality going into the bye.
So, Bobby, on the theme of change, okay, hopefully we see a Lamar Jackson that's more willing to run, a more fired up Lamar Jackson. Marlon Humphrey in the locker room last night revealed what was being said behind the scenes. We saw the fruits of whatever's being said behind the scenes because we saw the changes with Ardarius Washington and then Tre'Davious White taking some snaps from Brandon Stevens. So we saw some changes, but what was said behind the scenes? This is how the Ravens were able to turn it around, according to Marlon Humphrey.
And, it's been fun to actually get 3 and outs. We had a plethora of those, I felt, today. The biggest thing after whatever game that was, man, it was time to play, Ravens defense. And I think, at some defense and Ravens defense, there's a big gap between that. And the message kind of became a little bit clear. If you want to play ball, then we'll get you out there. But if you don't, you're going to have to sit on the sideline. And I think guys responded really well to what was being preached amongst the coaches, amongst the players. And we're holding guys more accountable now. And we just the brand we were playing, it's disrespectful to be in this Ravens uniform and play like that. And I think I feel like we've turned that corner. It's not perfect, but I still think there's a little more corners to turn. But the mindset has really changed. The mindset has really, really changed, and that's kind of where it starts.
The message became clear. If you don't want to play ball, you can go sit. If you want to play ball, you can come on the field and play. Bobby, that is a formula that clearly is working for the defense. And in my humble opinion, that formula needs to be extended out to other positions besides the defense. As hard as it is on feelings and all that kind of stuff, that same mentality has to be everywhere, including in the kicking room and the offensive line room.
Marlon's never wavered with his messaging this year. He's the longest tenured defensive player on this team. He's been very outspoken, which is why they constantly go to him in these scrums, and that's also why he has kind of been able to update the media in post-game form, whether it's after a win or loss, in terms of where they are collectively as a defense. And yeah, they have turned a corner, but they did buckle in the fourth quarter, as we all watched, with Saquon Barkley erupting and ultimately putting the finishing touches on that game. Look, this is a game where, yet again, your third highest cap hit player was a healthy scratch in Marcus Williams, as we covered on the post-game show, just over a week removed from cutting Eddie Jackson. It's been tumultuous for this defense. But is it crazy to think that going into the bye, they're one of them? When you look at the 3 phases, there may be actually more optimism around the defense coming out of the bye than there is with this current state of the offense against elite defensive fronts, not against the Giants, probably not against Houston, but Pittsburgh and every other team that's going to present the types of challenges that they do, and like Philadelphia did last night, defensively speaking, there's more questions than answers right now against those kinds of teams, offensively speaking.
Well, we will dive more into the offensive line changes that we're proposing and kicking. But before we do, I think we have some super chats, and I know you have an ad read, correct?
We do. Gabe says Voorhees, meaning Andrew, and Ben Cleveland must be liabilities in practice to not play with what our starters are doing. Our starting guards aren't starting for 20-plus other teams. Ray Dog writes, can someone please explain why Keaton Mitchell was a healthy scratch? That's absolutely insane. Dev James 25 says,
I can explain it. It was a special teams decision.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It was a special teams
Rasheed.
decision. He's had 4 offensive snaps up until now. The formula of Derrick Henry and Justice Hill has been good, so they didn't want to mess with it. And so they were trying to get him started with special teams first. They felt like Rasheen Ali was a better returner. Rasheen helped his own cause by putting up a, I don't know,
39-yard return.
Okay, so I was going to say 40 for a 40-yard return. So that's why they did it. If you're arguing he should get in as a running back, that's fine. But the Ravens have been sticking with that formula, which has been pretty well. And they just, it's like one of those things where it's like, don't fix what's not broke.
Rushing the football wasn't the problem last night. It was the guys in front of the running backs that were the problem, which we've already alluded to a couple times, and we're about to get into in just a second. Dev James 25 says 0-5 against good defensive lines. Our O-line is average, but if Lamar doesn't scramble or Monken doesn't call design quarterback runs, then it limits our ceiling. Thank you guys for your first 3 super chats of the afternoon, and thanks to all 1,800 of you concurrently watching us. As always, like the video if you're enjoying today's content. Subscribe to the channel to help us reach 20,000 subscriptions, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily live content. Today is brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep, and the holiday season is officially here. There's a lot of great things going on at mantasleep.com. And as we've told you about for months now, the Manta Sleep Mask Pro or anything else that they have up on the site, like the Sound Mask with the built-in Bluetooth feature, or the Silk Mask, or the Sleep Mask, all provide you 100% blackout for deeper sleeps. They have C-shaped eye cups built in for unbeatable side sleep comfort. 0 pressures applied to your eyelids or lashes. You've got advanced materials and ventilation for unmatched breathability. And if you find something you like as you peruse through the site, which again can be found in our show notes, it's also a pinned comment in the live chat. At checkout, use our discount code VAULT10. That is VAULT10. You'll get 10% off your next purchase and a guaranteed sleep enhancer for a loved one, for a significant other, for yourself. Christmas is right around the corner. Hanukkah, all the good things. If you're interested in learning more, mantasleep.com. Thanks to them for their continued support of our show. Shall we talk about?
Well, just one quick follow-up to Ray Dog's super chat that I just answered. He responded to my answer to him, and he's like, well, Keaton Mitchell is 100 times better than Justice. Justice is by far the best in pass protection for Lamar Jackson. I highly doubt Keaton Mitchell is anywhere near that. We saw in last year's AFC Championship game what poor pass protection against blitzes, what happens when the running back can't pick it up. Lamar is just dead in the water. And that is why he's frequently out there on 3rd down. He can pass protect, grab the screen, go and run. I'm sure Keaton could grab a screen, but pass protection on blitzes is another level. It's something that has to be learned. In no way am I taking Justice off the field on 3rd downs when you have to protect Lamar Jackson against blitzers.
Plus, it's like, if that's your main takeaway from last night, I challenge you to like look deeper, look bigger.
Do you want Keaton coming off a knee behind that offensive line?
Yeah, just like look deeper at it in terms of how the outcome came to be. And we're about to do that with this offensive line.
Yeah.
Jonas Schaefer did that by compiling some statistics via True Media. And this is what it showed. The Ravens have allowed a 40% plus pressure rate. Let me say that once more. The Ravens have allowed a 40% plus pressure rate in 4 games this season. You see the games that are up on the screen. Audio only, they're 1-3 in these games, are the Ravens. The lone win has come against Cincinnati, and it wasn't exactly a great statistical game for the offensive line in terms of pressure rate, over 42.6%. The losses skyrocketed, aside from one. Week 8, a loss to Cleveland, 50% pressure rate. Week 11, a loss to Pittsburgh, 40%. And of course, just yesterday, in a loss to Philadelphia, 56.8%, Sarah.
Holy crap.
And here are the culprits divvied up by PFF as compiled by Cole Jackson on X. Patrick McCary, who not only, Sarah, leads the league in penalties from an offensive player perspective, but last night he allowed the most pressures by the Ravens with 9. Ronnie Stanley was second with 4. Fa'alele and Linderbaum with 2. Rosengarten had 1. Tough year for 65 as the starting left guard since Andrew Voorhees was hurt.
Bro, a 60% pressure rate? This whole season we've been saying, well, the offensive line hasn't been great, but they've been better in protection. People are wondering why Lamar was having like these 10-step dropbacks yesterday.
Yeah.
Like he's like jogging backwards and then flicking it with his wrist. Holy crap. And again, listen, first and foremost, 9 pressures, Patrick McCary? 9 pressures?
Yeah.
What? That is bananas. That is, oh my gosh.
And look at the trend. Like
he's got
like part of me,
50% of the 60% pressure rate.
right. And part of me wants to respond to you and say, well, it's the best defensive front in the league. But then the trend, we go back to the trend, which True Media has here. And I can't say that because sure, they might just be the top defensive front in the league.
Yeah.
But other teams have done this exact thing and given them fits, and they've led to losses. And that's what we referenced just a few minutes ago. The Ravens have not been able to handle elite defensive fronts. At one point, Sarah, I saw Josh Jones come in as an extra blocker. Did you see that? Josh Jones was out there at one point
I did not
to
see
help
that.
out the left-hand side of the line. If memory serves, I saw a reserve O-lineman and a veteran, Josh Jones, on the left-hand side of the line to help out. It was probably only a snap or two. We can go take a look at that and remind ourselves later on in the quick hits because we have a screenshot of the snap count that Jeff put up on X. But they were searching for answers last night, Sarah, and none were to be found.
Can I play this McCary? Let me see if this will come up. Let me turn the sound off here. Look at McCary. Okay, so this is on a run by Henry. McCary's number 65 there. Going to the right, gets no blocks. The guy he was supposed to block goes after him, and it's Lamar up there blocking. McCary should be up at the second level.
It's becoming a weekly thing for
But
Lamar.
number 8 is like, oh, I got you because the offensive line can't hit to the second level. And it's McCary's man that flushed him out to go left anyway. Look at McCary. He completely whiffs on the linebacker who gets out there, right? Makes Henry bounce left. And then Lamar's like, I got you, bro. I mean, and this is like, we just looked at numbers for pressures. This is just in the run game. I got videos on Fa'alele too, but I don't want to get too far ahead. If you have, I don't know what he points out, but
well, that specific play that you just referenced sets up what Shannon Sharp had to say perfectly from earlier today.
Okay.
On First Take.
Look at Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry probably should have 2,000 yards. He's either getting hit in the backfield and breaking tackles and getting 3 and 4 yards, or he's getting a run. I've never seen a back, especially of his caliber, get hit in the backfield more than what Derrick Henry's getting hit. And it's amazing. And I watched the game very, very carefully, Stephen. I was like, how does this man have this many yards with this many hits before he gets to the line of scrimmage?
And what about Baldy?
Derrick Henry is as big and strong as any running back, including Jim Brown.
Are you frozen? Are you still there, Bobby?
Like, you're going to see this Derrick Henry take this hit. Like, these guys just can't survive these kind of hits. I mean, this is crash test dummy type stuff. Like, they just, look at this. Like, they're just throwing the right tackle over there. Derrick Henry's just getting busted. Like Milton Williams is laying on top of him. And that's just one play. That's just one play. Who survives that? Watch Derrick Henry get up off the ground. He needs some help right there. Heck yeah, he needs some help.
So, two indictments of this offensive line. We're going to mute it the second time through so you guys can watch, even though it's just one rep, how badly this offensive line was beaten on this Derrick Henry carry. First of all, 77, where are you, bro?
What is he doing?
Where are you? He's pulling, but where are you?
I got
You're not
another
accounting
angle of
for
it.
anybody.
I got another angle of it. He's showing he never finds work, ever.
Linderbaum's working his tail off. Rosengarten is working his tail off. Fa'alele is a non-factor in this play. Philadelphia of course. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry. Philadelphia swarms to the football. Too often, you saw lead blockers either no longer there, meaning Lamar was going to become a lead blocker for Derrick Henry, or just getting caught in the wash. Non-factors. Two indictments of Baltimore's offensive line. One from Shannon Sharp, one from Brian Baldinger, who knows a dang thing about the position.
Let me show you another angle on that. There's Falele there. All right. Snaps the ball. Oh, this is a different This is a different one. Do you see how he just whiffed? Look at
worse. That was worse, Sarah.
This is worse. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah.
And just whiff, and then he nails Henry.
Yeah.
What is Derrick Henry supposed to do right there? What are you doing, Fa'alele? And I get he's a big man. I get that.
6'8",
so, like,
380.
when he's going against lesser opponents, like, it works. But when you have an athletic guy, you can just go right past it. Here's the other angle of this one where you just can't find work. Like, nothing. Like, how do you have, like, as an offensive lineman, you need to have pride that you're going to hit somebody. And then Derrick just gets pummeled. Like, he couldn't find any work to do. Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. Oh, Bobby, this is why we were saying off the top. Listen, like, I'm sorry, but is Ben Cleveland going to whiff like that? Did we ever have video on here where Ben Cleveland just straight up whiffs on somebody? Like, it's right there. He's right there. And he just is so, like, slow to it. And then McCary with his 9 pressures, letting things go. Like, it just makes no sense to me. Like, it has never made sense to me all year, choosing Fa'alele over Ben Cleveland. I don't know if Andrew Voorhees would be much better, but 9 pressures, it's got to be better, right? You have 2 guys waiting in the wings. It's now a bye week. To me, the theme of this bye week should be change. Lamar sounds like he's going to change in the way he approaches it. Can we change in the way we approach the offensive line? I think that Ben Cleveland would be better. Andrew Voorhees, I'm not so sure about. I have less tape on him. But get Ben Cleveland out there. What, like, you made the threats to the defense. Why is it all coddling for Daniel Fa'alele? You made the threats and you followed through on defense. It hasn't been working for Fa'alele with above average defensive linemen all year. We're now going into, by the time we get back, they'll be going into week 14. Ben Cleveland's ready. Make the change. Make the change.
I think that'd be a great place to start. Fa'alele has made his strides. We've called those out, but he is exposed against the elite defensive fronts, as we've alluded to multiple times throughout this live stream. And when you have guys that are in the stable that can absolutely play the position, because we've seen it on tape, whether it's Voorhees and or Cleveland, that feels like it would be one great adjustment that can be made between now and December 15th.
Like, sometimes you just don't even have the option. Like, right now with Justin Tucker, it's like, who's the option? And we can discuss that. But you literally have the options there. It's right there looking you in your eye. Some places you don't have the option. You have it here.
Yeah.
It's right in front of you. Just make the move.
Despite an offensive line that really struggled collectively, led by McCary's 9 pressures and Fa'alele being in no man's land. By the way, Sarah, I don't think you can be tallied for a pressure if you don't even find the work. So it's like Fa'alele may have only had a couple pressures, but it's like, dude, You didn't even put yourself in a position where you're going to be tallied up because you're out of the play. Rosengarten was actually the highest graded Raven at right tackle, PFF-wise, 79.6. Marlon, Mark Andrews, Ronnie Stanley, and Travis Jones were all in the top 5, but again, all in the low 70s after Roger. Marlon, 74.9. Andrews, 72.1. He's really been coming on of late, as we discussed last night. Ronnie, 71.1. And Travis Jones, 78.